G'day and welcome to Wellywood Wargaming. My name is Damon, and in this video I'll be taking a look at the new Gnome team for Blood Bowl. The Warhammer community website has just kindly released the actual stats and costings for these gnomes in Blood Bowl. Everybody's going nuts about the models. Most people love them. To have a new stunty team in Blood Bowl is awesome, especially ones that are the bitter enemies of the halflings. Are these guys halflings? Are they something different entirely? Let's have a look at these stats. Before I get into it though, please do like, share, subscribe. Check out the Patreon as well to keep me doing more of what I do love doing. Right then, straight into it with the Gnome Lineman, the bread and butter of your gnome team. These guys are 40,000 gold, so they're a little bit more expensive than a halfling, and the stats are as follows. They've got movement 5, strength 2, ag 3+, passing 4+, and AV 7+ there as well. So again, I don't want to compare them too much to halflings, but you kind of have to because they're the only other sort of good guy stunty team that we've got to compare them to. Stats are the same. They are just 40,000 gold and a little bit more expensive as a result. Skills and traits here though, and this is where it gets really interesting. These stunties, in fact the whole team does not have dodge. Dodge is a skill that does not come on this roster whatsoever. In place of dodge, we have the awesome synergy of jump up and wrestle. 2 skills instead of 1, which makes the cost a little bit higher than, say, halflings. Now, it is really interesting having stunty and no dodge. It means they're not quite as able to move around as much and dodge. However, the synergy of wrestle and jump up does make them a little bit more maneuverable and sort of interesting to position around and stuff. Wrestle is just fantastic on a stunty anyway because you can sort of cage break and maybe sack the ball every now and then, but it's also a really good defensive skill to have on these guys should they survive. But being able to jump up and wrestle, being, you know, going prone and then being able to get up for free and continue your movement does give these guys a little bit more sort of maneuverability and stuff. It's worth mentioning they do get right stuff as well, so if you use your treeman to throw your Gnome Lineman, then you can do so, but it's only the lineman that can be thrown with right stuff. None of the other team actually do have the ability to be thrown by the treeman, by the looks of it. Now, it's worth mentioning as well here, we've got no numbers in terms of how many of each positional that you can actually have in your team. I'd assume that it's because they're linemen, you can have 0 to 16 of them or whatever, but you never know. But that's going to be something that I imagine will be in the new spike issue there. So Gnome Lineman, that's the stats for them. Jump up and wrestle is very much this team's thing, and I think it synergizes so beautifully. It's going to be really, really fun to use. The next thing we have is the Alton Forest Treeman. These guys are exactly the same as your normal halfling treeman, and they do not have loner, so it's worth mentioning there. They do not have loner. Mighty Blow +1, stand firm, strong arm, take root, thick skull, throw teammate, and timber. Stats are movement 2, strength 6, ag 5+, passing 5+, and AV 11+ at 120,000 gold there for the Alton Forest Treeman. Different looking model, but I think everything else is the same as your regular treeman. Again, it doesn't say how many treemen you can get, but I would assume that you get a maximum of 2. It might be 1. It could be 1 treeman. I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and find out, but it's just, you know, obviously you're going to need a big, strong, tough guy in this team. Otherwise, they're going to get absolutely smushed, I think. Anyway, so that's the Alton Forest Treeman. The next one, and probably the most interesting positional here, is the Gnome Beastmaster. Gnome Beastmasters are the glue that holds a gnomish frontline together as the only player in any team that starts with the exceptional guard skill. Beastmasters can assist their allies with the help of their furred or feathered friends, so either a badger or a fucking goose, which also gives them that extra point of armor value over the rest of their teammates. Similar to the halfling positional as well, the bigger one. Can't remember what his bloody name is now, but we've got the Gnome Beastmaster, 55,000 gold. So pretty cheap really, and coming with guard, jump up, stunty, and wrestle. Amazing. No right stuff on these guys though, and the stats are movement 5, strength 2, ag 3+, passing 4+, and a higher armor value of 8+ there as well. Now, guard is obviously the main thing to talk about there. Because these guys are able to assist the rest of your team in terms of blocking and stuff, which, you know, makes that strength 2 slightly more reliable sometimes. The main thing I'd want to use this guy for, though, is breaking into a cage and giving a assist on a wrestle sack from a lineman, perhaps. So real cage breaking possibilities here. but just having guard on a starting positional is always fantastic. Again, doesn't say how many of these guys you get. I would assume 2, as there are 2 in the box set present. It would be silly if you got 4 of them, I think. 2 is enough. So I think if you're playing against these guys, you're going to want to target these Beastmasters more than anything else. Right then, so the Gnome Illusionist is next. This is the female-looking gnome with the ball in front and the ball behind, doing a little tricky trick thing. These guys are really, really interesting. So Gnome Illusionists are masters of tricks and illusionary magic and use their unique skills to confound their opponents. Their brand new trait, Trickster, allows them to reposition when they are about to be hit by a block action, potentially removing opposition assists or even forcing an opponent to follow up into a disadvantageous position. Bit of a mouthful there. Gnome Illusionist, though, 50,000 gold. Again, very cheap. Movement 5, Strength 2, Ag 3+, Passing 3+. So they've got a slightly better passing stat there, and AV 7+ as well. Skills and traits, we've got Jump Up, Stunty, Trickster, and Wrestle. Again, no right stuff on this one. The whole team has Jump Up and Wrestle, pretty much. But the Trickster skill is as follows. Really, really interesting, slight sort of variation on Sidestep, really. When this player is about to be hit by a block action, or a special action that replaces block action, like the ball and chain move special action, before determining how many dice are rolled, they may be removed from the pitch and placed in any other unoccupied square adjacent to the player performing the block action. The block action then takes place as normal if the player using the trait is holding the ball and places themselves in the opposition end zone. The block action will still be fully resolved before any touchdown is resolved. So it's kind of like Sidestep, but better, because it's before the block action to start with, and you can actually position yourself behind the blocker, which is really cool. So if you've got the ball and you're driving towards the end zone and you've got a blocker in front of you who hits you, you could potentially place yourself behind them and try and get away scot-free, should you survive that block, of course. Now you could combine this with a bunch of other skills, maybe other passing skills as well, to if you do get knocked down, the one that gives you safe hands or whatever, to be able to place the ball where you want to. Strategically, really, really sound. Again, though, these guys are going to get squished pretty quickly, and I'd imagine, we'll talk about it later in terms of skill progression, but I'd imagine the first skill you're going to want to give these guys is certainly dodge. Anyway, very interesting one there as well. The last one is absolutely awesome and definitely my favorite piece so far in a long, long time, and probably one of the main reasons that I'm getting back into Blood Bowl again so much, with so much vehemency, is the Woodland Fox. Now, I'm an Englishman and I've grown up watching foxes in my street, wherever I've lived, late at night, and I've always found them magical little animals, and these ones certainly are magical. So the Woodland Fox, perhaps the most surprising player to be part of the Gnome team, is the swift and lithe Woodland Fox. With a movement of 7 and Ag 2+, and the Stunty trait, these canny canines can dart through opposition defensive lines with remarkable ease, and with Sidestep they can be incredibly hard to pin down. However, Woodland Foxes also come with the new My Ball trait, which prevents them from willingly giving up the ball, no matter how they are told to drop it. How much they're told to drop it. So the Woodland Fox, 50,000 gold, very cheap again, somewhat undercosted, I think, when you really look at the stats here. Movement 7, so much faster than pretty much any other stunty apart from a skink. Strength 2, Ag 2+, passing none, and AV 6+, so terrible armor. But they come with dodge, My Ball, Sidestep, and stunty. So dodge and stunty and Ag 2+ is disgusting. You can just get through anything pretty much very, very easily, with that high movement too, and also Sidestep as well, just to be able to get free if you do survive those blocks and whatnot. It's just really, really good. The My Ball special rule is really interesting. It's definitely a bad thing, I think, but if you're using these guys as your main runner and carrier, which you will be doing, and handing off to your foxes, it's absolutely fine. But here is the My Ball special rule. So a player with this trait may not willingly give up the ball when in possession of it, and so may not make pass actions, handoff actions, or use any other skill or trait that would allow them to relinquish possession of the ball. The only way they can lose possession of the ball is by being knocked down, placed prone, falling over, or by the effect of a skill, trait, or special rule of an opposing model. So you absolutely cannot give up the ball until you've lost it. So by legitimate means, whether that's being knocked down or indeed scoring, which is hopefully the way that you're going to be doing it. So that is all of the positionals so far. I think you'll find, it's pretty damn awesome, isn't it? Really, really unique. Jump Up and Wrestle being the main theme of the team. We've still got a big, strong treeman to do some bashing. Are these going to be as bashy as halflings? Probably about the same, really, I suppose, and you're going to get similar inducements. One thing that you don't get with these guys is you don't get a discount on the halfling master chef, because that would be totally wrong if they were able to get the chef discount and stuff. But I can see these guys being a real force at tournaments with the right inducements and whatnot. Griff and a bunch of other, it'd be interesting to see other, availability on star players and whatnot. Obviously, they've got the guy with the fishing rod, who's really, really interesting. I think, again, synergizes with the rest of the team really well, getting those loose balls and whatnot. But yeah, super interesting. I'm just going to read you the last bit here, the last little blurb. What's different about gnomes? Gnomes bring a lot of fun and whimsy to the gridiron, but they provide a challenge for existing coaches looking to broaden their Blood Bowl horizons. By being different to other stunty teams, gnomes fit a niche not yet explored within the game. Their unique combination of skills and traits gives the gnome team their tricksy feel. Utilizing the Gnome Illusionist alongside the massive jump up and wrestle will allow players to get around opposition lines, and the Gnome Beastmasters will now allow gnome teams that better chance to go toe-to-toe with other stronger teams. When it comes to scoring, Woodland Foxes are your go-to piece. Although they cannot give up the ball, there is something very satisfying about watching a wily fox dart through opposition lines, pick up the ball, and then run into the end zone, no doubt wagging its tail with joy. Oh, I mean, I'm in love with this team already. I'm definitely going to be buying myself a copy of the team, whether I'm going to buy the pictures. The picture's pretty awesome as well. You've got like a nighttime garden in the night garden. And on the other side, you've got a daytime sort of garden with a bunch of little flowers and daisies and whatnot. What's not to like about these guys, this team? I'd really like to know your thoughts down below on how you think these guys are going to perform next to the other stunty teams, particularly halflings, goblins, and the like. I think they're really awesome, and I can't wait to use them on the pitch. Anyway, that's it for now. I'll be back with another video real soon. Peace out.